and everybody. My name is Quillon Brown, and I appreciate y'all for tuning in to the show, bringing forth the podcast, bringing forth reality. Today, I want us to look at a couple of things, just kind of like an overview, but check out a couple of points and issues inside the book that could help us out, maybe, and hopefully it could put a spark in our mental, and get us on an elevated level than where we were at before. Like I said, I always like to start with self. So inside when on the self check is the first issue. It's some things. It's short, some stuff that I hit on that we looked at, and one of them was so putting ourselves in a setting. One was a setting to where you just say, for instance, you exhausted. You've been running and going for a few days straight. Maybe you ain't had that much sleep, and you're tired. So when it's time for you to lay down, they're finna set in. You're gonna probably get some good rest. Well, think about because remember we dealing with handling the individual like we want, in other words, versus somebody handling us, because you don't want to be pushed around or toyed with or nothing like that. So just think about that. You go to rest, and you ain't had, you've been going for a couple of days, 2-3 days, and so you finna probably be knocked out for about at least 6-8 hours straight to get you, maybe longer than that, but maybe to get you some good rest and for your body to replenish itself and for you to be able to now be functionable. So 10-15 minutes into that, I come in and I disturb you. Now, just think about it. That's not going to be comfortable. You're already irritated because you've been running and going. Now I disturb you and boom, break. So they call that a form of sleep deprivation. So that's not only will you be aggravated, but it'll also mess with the chemical imbalance that we have going on, because with sleep deprivation deals with it'll throw you off. It put more stress on you, because when we went into the phase of sleeping, in which it's for rest to get the body to replenish itself, but then it's broke. So, and then don't let it be broke 2-3 times. So now what you dealing with? Now you did it. Now it's going to turn into a mental issue, and that's why most of the book is dealing with the psychological conditions, mindset, and dealing with things on a psychological level, also with our actions. So now I break that. You're gonna be aggravated. So now let's go back. Me myself, I should know that if I'm gonna be aggravated in that way, then I shouldn't do that to nobody else. So this is how we look at the issue and how we view things as we going down through the book in different aspects, and showing that where we shouldn't either cross that line or we should change it. And we think about it like, man, have I done that? Man, I've done that before. I don't want to do that again. See, so that's something that's in self-check. That's a thing that you like, man, I got to check myself on that, because I don't need to be nobody that somebody look at too, like, man, I don't want nobody to be frowning up when I turn the corner, you know. So that's one of the deals that I use and that we can all relate to, and we know that nobody wants that done to them. So, you know, it ain't no way of getting around that. You know, another point that in one of the issues that that we talk about, one of them it's I can't remember what issue it is right now, but it's I think this was often living in a cosmos world, and let me see, I think this one was in living in a cosmos world and losing family values. I spoke about in there, it was the article one time that I read. This sister was out of California, I think she was, but I think her name was McCarthy, Cheryl McCarthy, for without me going inside and making sure, but that's her name, Cheryl McCarthy. And she had the title of the article was Blonde is Beautiful Mystique. And I can remember it without looking in there. And it was a subtitle, I think it was saying that we matter of fact, let me go in there real quick because it don't take that long, because I want to because this was good. This is good. Born and Beautiful Mystique, and it was dealing with the whole perception of Hollywood on how they put it out there the world. The blonde hair is what, you know, this is the beauty, and this is what you want to be like. This is a condition. Now we dealing with conditions. We dealing with the psychological mindset. I'm talking about everything in here is dealing with the psyche. So when we look at this, they have that perception they put out there. So that's one in Hollywood that is big. So this is something that's been, I'm talking about, it's ingrained in our brain, because if you look today, if you ask some of the sisters, right, you're like, hey, what hairstyle you like? What color you like? A lot of them gonna say blonde. Now, where you think that came from? See, we have to think about that. And then, I mean, if you pose a question on them, they're not gonna know. They're not gonna understand, and they might understand. But then, for them, if they do understand, then that's somebody that's conscious that haven't even seen how it affecting them, and that they really don't themselves like that. They're going off a trend, or they going off a perception, or they going off a something that somebody else done set into play, and they think that this is the accepted way to be. So that's what I need. I need that blonde hair, because I'm gonna be accepted. I'm gonna be raised up here. I don't need my natural hair, the natural black. I don't need, matter of fact, the blonde and the straight. I don't need the curly when you roll up, no, because I'm not gonna be accepted. So, you know, it goes way deeper than that. But I'm just saying, just hitting on the surface. This is the stuff that we talk about in here. So and we deal with it, and it affects us more than what we think. That subtitle that I was trying to think about is A Blonde is Beautiful Mystique. I had that right. King Kong is the latest to promote the disturbing message that fair hair and skin, even among women of color, makes one superior or desirable. So when you think about that movie, when you think about the King Kong, big black gorilla, massive, and then the lady is what? Caucasian, blonde hair. This is what breaks him down. So look at everything how it's done, how it's put out there, and then what's been done, and how it's been introduced to us in the community, and through the history of the conditioning, the brainwashing, and the slavery. And a lot of people we don't want to look at that because we try to, oh man, I try to forget that. But see, my thing is, look at the history. Even when I looked at myself and changed in myself, why do I think like that? Why am I coming up with this, or why do I make this action or this? It's all about what's inside of us, and not more. It ain't always that what you eat, which what you eat has a lot to do with it, and that's, we talk about that in there too. But that's consumed also. It's just not consumed through the mouth. It's consumed through here. It's consumed through the eyes and through the mental. So the things that was introduced and how it was brought into to ingrain in the brain, these things carry on, and their effect even always still to the day. So, you know, that we can go on and on with that. But like I said, she hit on a lot of key things inside of the article, and I liked the article. I liked it, and this is one of the things that I talk about, and some of the stuff we go real in depthness in it. And when I say we, because a lot of things that, like I said, it's already in us and we are part of it, we just might choose to keep ourselves away from it because we don't understand it at the time, or we was conditioned to think differently and to perceive it differently. So that's the part of why I use the condition, the brainwash, the training, you know, the chains, the invisible chains as I call them today, because today we not chained up like they show when you see that the slaves were chained up and everything. We don't have no chains on them, but we still got the chains. You just can't see them. So that was a major point off inside of that issue, and we also, like I said, talk about that on further down the line, and even in the in some of the further issues that brought up. And like I said, that's something that's real relevant in our community, and it needs to, not only it needs to be addressed, or brought to the forefront, but we need to understand why we think like this, and then why we treat somebody differently because they look like something that we think that's superior. Now we got them on an inferior level, and these are the same people that look like yourself, but you've been trained to treat them because of they don't have this one right here got the blonde hair, and not only does she got the blonde hair, she got the blonde hair and the fair skin. Oh, that's the superior one. So it's way more deeper than how we can see it and look. I mean, how we look at it on a shallow level, because you're looking at it in a shallow level until you look at it in depthness and see what's been, how this been involved, and then we've been taken into and put in a cage inside of a box or a container behind the psychosis that have been, you know, that we've been conditioned up under. So that's another point. And another issue were that and like I say, it's in this. It goes more in depthness. So a lot of this stuff I talk about, it can go more in depthness, and even then I go inside of here. Children are the future. That's issue 5. So in there, we look at how we know that we understand that children are our future, or we should understand that. And one of the points that we talk about often there is like a mother, and I think I speak about this also, maybe put it in another form, how the how a child should be to the mother. You know, and of course they birth the child, but how a child should be that close and sentimental to the mother, you know, even out by them being attached formally to the mother, and then the love that she has for the child, and how today, as you look and see, we sometimes we operate on another level as a whole versus how we used to when we look at, you know, the how the mother would be more close to herself. You see things that's not normal, like a mother just killing a child. Just I mean, you these things when you go back 50 years or so ago, you didn't see stuff like this. You know, a mother torturing a child because of whatever reason. You didn't see stuff like that. You know, now we had when you go back in history and when you look at events that happened in the biblical scripture or the Quran or, you know, or the scripture period, then you see things. We seen where they did things that wasn't becoming, you know, to children, you know, but that was something that was going on there with a certain rulership. This is outside of that. This is not. This is the actual mother doing something to her own child that she birthed and went through the stages of birth. You know, the 9 months. So something wrong with that. So we dealing. That's why. That's the whole purpose of this. We dealing with a mental state. We dealing with a psychological condition that's deeper than a whole lot of things that, you know, that we look at today and not look at in depthness. You know, a lot of these things not looked at in depth. A lot of them just say, oh man, the mother did this or the father did this to the child, or why did people, you know, why did they go in there, or why did this individual they might not be kin to him do that to a kid or a baby or whatever, right? But we never look at the condition, or not that you're going to know exactly what the condition is, but that this person is going through a mental condition or psychological, is in a psychological trance that, you know, that's not normal. When it comes to treating somebody like, because if he was that child, just think about it, somebody did that to him, then he wouldn't even be where, or she wouldn't even be where they was today. So this is the level that we try to get on inside of here, to where we can look at things more in depthness and see, kind of analyze it, and not only analyze it, I like to say, can I say it in one of her poems in there, I like to see what the outcome gonna be, you know, not just look at the situation, but analyze the outcome, you know. So just looking at it, bringing it up, hey man, we got this. No, let's analyze the outcome. Let's find a solution to the problem, or pick at it, or work at it. You know, that's another thing that I'm big on. Not debating, but coming up with the solution. You know, well, it's all right to go back and forth or whatever, but to go back and forth to come up with the solution is better than just going back and forth. You know, we need to be on the same page. Let's go back and forth, but let's come to some kind of point where we can say, okay, well, you're right. Yours, I think that's the best solution right there that you got. Let's try that first. If that don't work, then we'll try mine. You see, so, you know, it's deep, whole lot deeper than even what I can give inside of here, but we go real deep in here on a lot of things. I wanna let you look at the cover again and see, you know, I like this because I came with it, even though I could have probably put some different things, but these all, you know, they when you look at it, it's gonna, and you go inside the book, you're going to get a visual, and then you're going to have some kind of perception, and also a deep conception of what you see versus what's inside of here. So it's going to attach you in some type of way if you going in depth, and if you're looking at it, you know, in depthness. Just the back. the projections and the pictures, you know, put you in line of what's going on inside of the book. And you're gonna have your own. You're gonna come up with something that like sparks. You know, you or be like, man, I see. You know, I mean, you gonna look at something, you know, maybe different than how you looked at it before, and that's the whole purpose. You know, another to look at another issue would be, let's go to the last one. The last one, 12, and I feel like this should have been the last one, is getting in tune with our spiritual life. Now, this is kind of touchy for a lot of individuals, and I always have been all throughout time. You know, you're going to have, when you're talking about spiritual, dealing with things on a spiritual level, people a lot of people kind of run from it. But at the same time, the majority of us are attached to it unconsciously. Because, first of all, we always look at things in a perspective of where we bringing up, or we looking at something to where, man, ain't no way of getting around it. We all a spirit. We have a spirit inside of us. That's the way you move. Because think about it, when this right here is gone, you know, it's gonna go. And right now it could burn up. It could, and even if you don't burn up, if you just die a natural death, then it's gonna turn into ashes. So we already know this, and this is already known. It's not no like, well, maybe no, it ain't. It ain't gonna be nothing but bones left down in the grave. So what's moving us? What's moving us is a spirit. It's a soul. So how you look at it, I don't care if you say you hate this or whatever, it don't even matter. That's what it is. Because the other stuff is material. And the material ain't doing nothing. Ain't material is not making the moves and causing things to happen. The material is where the happening is at. It's because we see it's physical, it's tangible, but it's not making the body do these certain things. So getting in tune with our spiritual life, I talk about and hit on where this is, I mean, to me, it has to be the foundation to everything, because even outside of us talking about, hey, this scripture or that scripture, you tie it back to the soul, you tie it back to the spirit, because that's the only way you're moving. So maybe a person will see that and see the logic, not only the logic, but the factual part of it, and how they are, because you couldn't make your own body, you haven't made it, and no human have made their own self. It's not even known. It can't be done. They got clones and all this stuff going on, but that's not made. That's not made. Nobody made you. Nobody made me. Nobody can make no human being. They only can take it and, like they say, clone it, and you know, but they can't make. And while all the technology, you know, somebody would have been and came up with it if they could make a person. So anyway, this is getting in depthness with our spiritual life, our spiritual being, and this a change. This bring us to change. Also, because you value yourself more, and then you'll value the next individual. Because, like I said, eventually, you know, what we got going on right here is going to be up in the air. You know, just like up in smoke, it's going to be gone away, done. So when we start thinking on that level, we make different decisions. We treat people differently. You react differently. You make different steps. You take different steps. You try to do things now to make it count, you know, and for the betterment. Because nobody wants to be, even if you just go out here for no reason and kill somebody, evidently you didn't want to be done like that, because if you did, you'll kill yourself. So that's why I'm saying this thing is, everything we deal with comes from right here. And that's why I named it Bringing Forth Reality. These are things in the back that we bring now. We're looking at it. When we're looking in the book, we're looking at it. We try to bring it to the forefront, so maybe we can make some advancements in ourselves. Maybe we start seeing the flaws in us. We start seeing, well, dang, I was a detriment more than I was a benefit. You know, God, I don't want to. I don't when you start getting conscious, you don't want to be like that. So, like I said, that's the basis of why, how I got inspired, and through myself, and every issue I had to attach it to myself. 'Cause the only way that I see things is, I can't talk about nothing that I wasn't, that I didn't, I don't know about personally, or I wasn't involved in, or I didn't partake in, or I didn't go through. So that's a not a synopsis of the whole, but we hit on some key points and some things that I felt that I seen that was relevant to us and to mankind, even as a whole, not just my ethnic group, but I gotta start home first. Like I always say, you gotta start with self, and then you gotta start home. So and you need to, and even within the culture, as I feel, so you gotta start home, self, community, inside the culture, and then go from there. Once again, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. And my name is Quillon Brown again. A lot of people call me Quinn. Also known as Rashad Abdul Haq. Like, subscribe, share, and appreciate you one more time. Peace and blessings.